So I want to do this video for anyone that kind of feels that they're doubting their spiritual beliefs. They're doubting whether spirituality is actually real, or whether or not they are actually a spiritual being, or if it's something that they've just kind of made up in their head. And they've made it up in their head maybe because they're actually scared to admit that there's something else wrong with them. Well, let me just give you this. The fact that you're here watching this channel also tells me that you're probably out there watching other similar channels and looking deeper into spirituality itself. Now, spirituality didn't come into your life by accident. That was something in you had made you go towards spirituality, or you stumbled across a video of spirituality, which would have meant at some point you typed into Google or YouTube something, not necessarily about spirituality, but something to do with how you were feeling, and that brought up a spiritual channel. The fact that you clicked on the spiritual channel, or the fact that you clicked on something that seemed to be answering your question, and then they started speaking spiritually and you stayed and watched. So whichever way you look at it, you stayed on that spiritual thing. There's a reason for that. That's because that's where you are meant to be. So ultimately, the answer to anyone questioning that, is spirituality for me, is it a real thing for me? The answer is yes, you're on the right path, because otherwise you would click off of these videos. The amount of views I get compared to the amount of likes or subscribers I get, there's a huge difference between the two. That's because a lot of people will click onto this and then see me sitting in a van talking away and just, no, that's not for me, and they'll move on. Others, they might give it the time of day because they see me sitting in a van rather than a mountainside, but I ain't got the equipment to film on the side of a mountain and that stuff. It's too windy and rainy. I actually had this illusion in my head that I was going to do some great videos from the tops of mountains and stuff like that, but unfortunately, guys, I'm walking all over the place trying to find somewhere to go, but I can't get out of the wind, so I had to come and sit in a van and do a video, but I will get better equipment soon enough. But in answer, sorry, that's what I was saying. So the fact that you are watching a guy in a van means that this is where you should be, because you're finding the subject interesting, and you're finding it interesting because it's resonating with you. It's resonating with you because there's the spiritual side of you waking up. I don't now question whether or not I'm spiritual. In fact, it's not something I really think about. It's just something that is. It's just an is in me now. I don't identify with it. I don't not identify with it. It's just for the sake of the channel, then I have to say I'm a spiritual guy, a spiritual person. But spirituality, it shows up in many different forms for all of us. So there's no blueprint image to how spirituality looks. Some people might wear robes and like to wear sandals and walk around and meditate and be on their own a lot and take in nature and meditate in nature and stuff like that. Others, like me, like to put packs on, wear baseball caps backwards, do videos and hike alone off in the mountains and see it. So others might be more into an art form, or singing, drama, music, poetry, whatever it might be. Or some might just be living their life and doing their garden out in the garden. That's it. There is no blueprint for it. But when you're in Dark Night of the Soul, you're developing that side of you. And so if you're asking the question, am I really spiritual? The fact that you are reading spiritual stuff, that you are listening to channels like this, you are listening to people like me. Let's put it this way. If you clicked on a thumbnail and you was looking for something and you accidentally clicked on a thumbnail because my title read as something that was interesting to you. But when you clicked through, it was me sitting here in my van now, and I'm talking about Formula One racing. You'd instantly click off, unless maybe you're interested in Formula One, but you get the point I'm saying. So you would click straight out. You would click straight out based off the fact that I am just a guy sat in the van talking away. But the fact that you're here and you're watching this means that this is where you should be. There's something in the spirituality world that's really appealing to you. So you're not there by accident. And just another thing quickly for any of those who were wondering, about consciousness, if you like. Are we? How do we become aware of our consciousness? How do we? I'm not sure how to explain this. How do we try and understand that the mind is on top of the consciousness? Like there's a consciousness and then the mind is in that. Well, there's an easy way of doing that. All you have to do is think back to when you were born. When you were very first born and you come out of your mum, and that sounded so bad, I'm really sorry. But when you, I can't be a nicer way to say that, but when you were given birth to, and you're there, I've got that image in my head now, you were given birth to and you were there, you wasn't identifying with nothing. You didn't come out, or I didn't come out being called Toby. I was not, no one was there sort of thinking, oh, there's a Toby. He's one of them ones. So I had no story. I had no identity. And even if other people had given me, even if other people had given me the identity at that point, I didn't know. I was unconscious to the mind that had yet to go into me. I was unconscious to that. But what wasn't unconscious was my consciousness, or your consciousness when you was that baby. You was just there. You reacted to whatever it was that was going on around you. So your senses were stimulated. You didn't know that. Your body was just reacting to what was going on around it. So that shows you that your consciousness was reacting. So that shows you that consciousness was there a long time before the mind come into play. The consciousness was there, your oneness, your awareness, your perception of the world was there before the downloading of the material world went inside your head. And that right there should give you respite and encouragement and belief that, oh my God, yes, there is a consciousness. And that's what it means, is there's this field of consciousness, and within the consciousness goes our mind and everything else. And along with our mind comes all of this other downloaded nonsense that's gone into us. All the traditional beliefs, generational beliefs, I say it in every video. It's all stuff that has made us identify as that. Whatever's been told to us, whatever's been said, whatever we've read, looked at, heard, smelt, tasted, we've identified as that. But maybe what we could identify with is as the little baby who had just been given birth to. Not as the actual baby, but the consciousness, the awareness. So when someone did something funny, you'd smile. If someone did something that you didn't like, you'd cry. You didn't wonder why, or no one at that point would have told you to do something different, because they know at tender months old, you don't understand, so no one says anything anyway. If you're crying, you get a cuddle. And so lots of cases, you don't get a cuddle, and that causes damage in itself. But the point being that we was just at that point, just a consciousness that was there. And we were responding and we were reacting to the environment around us, the world around us, the universe, whatever was going on. Without us knowing it, we was very, very aware of our internal workings, if you like, of our sixth senses, our intuitions, our sense perceptions. Everything was functioning. We didn't know it. And if you can take the title out of human being, take the title out of boy or girl, take the title out of baby, what is there? There's just a thing. If someone come down from another planet and they had never seen something before, they'd just look at it like, oh, what, this thing moves around and does what it's got to do. But the point I'm trying to make off of that, guys, is that's your consciousness there. And as we get older, things get downloaded into us. And it's the things that get downloaded into us is what we identify with. And when we start identifying with the things that get downloaded into us, that's where the problems start. Because the more that gets downloaded and the more we identify with that stuff, the more we come away from that essence that was there in the beginning. And right now, that's where we are. We're separating from that. Our third eye is opened and we can now see the side that we identify with. However, that's so strong in us that sometimes we can't see it. And just on that note quickly, because we can't always see that, that's why sometimes we might feel depressed and then okay, depressed and then okay, depressed and then okay. Because as we move on and we become more in touch with our true essence, the more we have little flashes of seeing things. And when we see that thing, we get, and that sends us back down again. And then we kind of, our body, this proves to you that the body's working, it will then start regulating. It processes that, then it lets it go, and you come back up a little bit. And then because you come back up a little bit, you become more in touch with your true essence. So you see something else that went on. And when I say something that went on, that doesn't necessarily mean a physical thing that happened to you. You may just spot something within society that you think, oh, wow, that really does happen. Everyone's doing whatever it is they're doing because they're people pleasing or whatever. You notice these things. And when you notice it, you then sort of, I was one of those people. It can make you go down again. Sometimes things like that won't. They make you go up. They make you go down. But as I'm trying to say in this whole video, I'm trying my best to, is that there is no blueprint way of doing it. And it's quite normal to doubt your spirituality. It's quite normal to doubt if any of this stuff is actually real and going to happen. You will eventually reach a point where these questions kind of, I was going to say answer themselves, but they kind of, you reach a point where you don't need them answering. You become comfortable with yourself, you become in touch with yourself, and you don't need those questions answering. And at that point you might identify that, this time it was the questioning, it was the searching, it was the trying to find the answers, it was the trying to find the enlightenment, it was trying to find my spiritual being. You start realizing it's the searching for that that's keeping you stuck. And obviously, guys, like I say, if you're really, really, really down and struggling away and whatever else, then seek someone to talk to. There's no harm in that. Seeking someone to speak to, as a spiritual person, whatever. Just do your research on them, and then have a chat. It can work wonders, But I think sometimes we're very quick to just come away from what we actually need and rush off to the doctors or rush off and take some tablets, and all we end up doing is just burying. We just more and more burying, like putting a plaster on a broken leg. But anyway, I'm going to kind of call that a day with this one. Sorry, I'm recording in the van. Did I say this already in the video? I'm not sure, but I was hoping to record out on the mountainsides, but I haven't got the equipment and stuff to do that. But hopefully I'll get some soon enough, and then I can start doing it in better places. But for now, I've had to come into the van. If I said that, guys, I'm really sorry. I told you this again. There's that spiritual person, right? So my spiritual essence knows that I have a weakness in remembering what I've said, and sometimes I won't say things that I think I should have said. So I know that, but it doesn't stop me from doing the videos, because this is where that spirituality, this is where that essence is taking me to do this kind of stuff. And so therefore it can't ultimately go wrong. And I hope that little part there makes sense to you. But so anyway, I hope that was interesting to you. Hi to the new subscribers that come along. Thank you guys for all the love that you always show me. It's all, I appreciate every one of you. I genuinely do. And I love every one of you. And it's raining in the Peak District, and I'm going to sleep in the back of the van again tonight, and then I'm not sure what I'm doing tomorrow yet, but I guess I'll find out in the morning. Anyway, guys, hope you're all well, hope you're okay. I hope there's nothing I've forgotten to say. I'll be back at the caravan soon enough and doing more recordings. And anyway, guys, love every one of you. Take care. Peace.